might be. Welcome. We're rocking and rolling. Okay, sweet. Well, everybody, this is Career Lab Wednesday. Many of you have been joining in over the past year, and we are now going to be streaming not just on LinkedIn, we're going to YouTube as well. So welcome, Janet. Good to see you. Welcome. And EM, welcome. So there's several ways to participate in Career Lab Wednesday. One, and the best way, is to jump in on the Zoom link provided here. And that way we can work with you one-to-one. If that doesn't work for you, if you're only able to view in through YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, you can type your questions into the comment sections of each of those platforms, and Jane will get those over to us. We'll do our best to answer those. Last week we had a lot of questions come in. We didn't quite get to all of them, but we're available. You can keep typing the questions into the comment section, and we will get back to you with those as well. So again, welcome everybody. A couple of ways that we operate in Career Lab Wednesday. One is that we want everybody to be learning vicariously. So when somebody's sharing, you're really listening to what they're saying and applying it to yourself, getting everything you can from what they're sharing. Another thing is that we want you to have any question that you have career related. There's no question too big, no question too small. Sometimes people will come back over several sessions as they're working through a question that they have and how they can really apply it to their life. And again, no question too small. So often we find that when people are jumping in and asking questions, somebody else says, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I had that question. Thank you so much for asking it. So again, this is Career Lab Wednesday. We have a topic today. You do not need to ask a question in alignment with the topic. Any question that you have, whatever is on your heart, is the most important thing. You can go ahead and type your questions into the comment section, or even better, jump in here on Zoom, and Dr. Medlock and I will do our best to support you with that. So I would love to introduce Dr. Gordon Medlock. It's great to have you here. Expert in career coaching, also does so many other things. One of the things that you often bring to the table, Dr. Medlock, is how is our career helping us become who we can become? Is this a vessel? Does this company help me achieve my potential? And our topic today, which actually can correlate to that, is how to deal with conflict at work. So as we're getting going, Dr. Medlock, I would love to hear your thoughts about this.
Well, this is a great topic because so many people are conflict avoidant, that they don't want it. They think conflict is going to be bad. And actually, conflict is one of the most important things that can help contribute to your growth and learning. So it's very important to look at what kinds of conflicts that will show up at work. One of the secrets that people don't often recognize, but they see it all the time, is we all bring our family systems to work. So suddenly you find out that your boss turns into your father or your mother in terms of some kind of pattern that you're trying to complete or deal with in your life. Or you find another colleague who reminds you of a sibling that you need to deal with. So, and these relationships can actually derail you if you're not conscious of them and how to work with those emotions and those relationships to not get trapped in old patterns, but really come up with creative solutions to use those relationship conflicts to actually promote your growth and the growth of the people you're with. So,
McDonald's, my name is Janet. How can I help you today?
Whoop. Keep going.
Okay. Wait, is that a call for this? Was that on our phone or not?
That's us, but no, Janet had a call come up.
I see another call. Okay, good. So, so invite you to bring in, if you're looking at conflicts that have shown up in your work situation, or it could be that you're in interview situations and you're realizing certain kinds of tensions show up that make you feel uncomfortable or may bring up some of your own unfinished conflicts from other relationships that you've had. So invite you to bring in whatever issues you may be having from a relationship perspective and how those can promote your growth and learning and developing your career. So.
Oh, fantastic. Dr. Medlock, thank you for that context. You know, one of the things that comes in often is a question that is asked on interviews is, how did you deal with conflict at your last place? And that's answering that question can be really powerful because, like you were saying, Dr. Medlock, if we're going to get stuff done, there's likely going to be some conflict. So anyway, lots of stuff to dig into on this. If you are viewing in through YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you have questions, go ahead and type those into the comment section. We'll get those over to us. But I want to open up the floor here for anything that's on anybody's heart. How can we serve you today? Good to see you, Justin. Welcome.
See you, George. Thanks for speaking with me yesterday, and glad to be a part of this here.
Fantastic. Well, Justin, do you want to jump on in what you're working on?
Sure. So, little 30-second bio on me. Was in the restaurant industry for 20 years. The last 10 years of that portion of my career, I was a general manager. So I was running multi-department teams of 60 plus people, all keeping people motivated towards one particular goal. COVID hit and I moved out of the restaurant industry because of all the questions, concerns that were related to that. And just kind of, at that point in my life where I don't want to be on my feet 12, 14 hours a day. Moved over into inside sales, which was still related to the restaurant industry, and got laid off from there recently and really just have no idea on where I want to go. I have this resume in an industry from 20 years of experience, in managing people and, customer relations and all this, and really just trying to help find a direction and help eliminate options and kind of get focused on an area that might suit me best.
And Justin, can I bring in one thing from our conversation yesterday about how you enjoy management?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and that's something that you're wanting to develop in yourself. So this is part of when we're talking about your career being a pathway for you to reach your potential, that this is something that you value. You like seeing other people develop. You like being part of that relationship process, and you're good at it. From what I gathered in our conversation yesterday, you're good at this. So I wanted to make sure we got that in here as one of your gifts.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. The team that I ran, was, different departments. It was an entire restaurant. It was over a $3.5 million restaurant. I had, front of house workers that were 21 years old, right out of college, to 60-year-old kitchen workers that didn't speak English, and to keep them all motivated, to keep them going towards the same goal, was rewarding. It was difficult at times, but we led to sales growth in every year that I was there, and had a great team.
So one question I have, I'd like Justin just to explore. You mentioned that you've moved out of the position in a management role, and you tried an inside sales job, and that didn't work out. Or something. Can you say a little bit about what happened there?
Sure. I succeeded at it. I did well. Again, there was a lot of areas in my previous role in the restaurant industry that I could tailor to that. The sales was directed directly at restaurants, so I had that kind of foot in the door. But it was about building relationships. It was about building that rapport over Zoom or on the phone, and really figuring out what that customer was looking for, and try to hit those solutions. They've the company eliminated the inside sales team and offered me a position on the outside sales team, but I didn't really want to be traveling all over the state and this and that. So that's why I'm here. And, it was a good experience. Not sure if I want to continue in that sales role.
So who were you selling to? Were you selling to other companies or other restaurants?
Yeah, it was small, medium-sized business. 99% of the time I was dealing with the owners. Sometimes I would be working with the general managers, who would then be, doing the legwork and reporting to the owners.
And you guys were representing what? Were you a restaurant conglomerate of some sort?
Point of sale company.
Okay.
So all the point of sale computer equipment, payment processing that you see when you walk into a Starbucks, those computer terminals, that's what I was selling to.
Okay, gotcha. So what's your real desire? I mean, you've been working in the restaurant industry for some time. You've had some good success in it. You mentioned that you weren't sure what you were looking for, but I'm curious, what's your appetite for staying in that industry right now?
So to get back into the restaurant industry, there's some things that I really don't care for in that industry, and that's the long hours, the nights and weekends. I'd like to start a family in the next few years here, and going and getting back into a career that has those type of hours, that has those long shifts. It's just not something that I see myself doing.
Okay.
Within there, I'm trying to navigate, discover if there's more corporate level jobs within the restaurant industry, with larger groups, Compass USA. They have some other groups within there that may have more of that corporate type 9 to 5, Monday through Friday type of job. So that's kind of what I'm looking into, while still keeping my options open in the sales route as well. But ultimately, I would love to manage people again.
Compensation that'll be equal or more. So that would be the positive on this. So if you can, if that still is of interest to you, that sounds like a good move for you to consider at this point, just from a practical perspective.
Sorry, Gordon, you cut out a little bit there. I didn't hear the first part of that statement.
Okay. I was just saying that the fact that you are interested in moving, if you can move within your industry, in other words, if you're not changing your industry and keeping your same position, you have a higher possibility of kind of finding a sweet spot of a position that best uses your skills and will also allow you to make more income in that area. If you can do that directly. So the first thing I'd ask is what companies or corporate organizations have you researched that you think would be a good fit for you at this point in terms of your management skills?
Sure. Still very early in the process. Compass USA is a company that is all over the world. They have some different entities within Chicago here. Levy Restaurants, Filk Hospitality Group. So some of those larger restaurant groups have or may have positions, in the corporate, in their corporate structure that I may be looking into there.
Cool. So I think that if you want to take that seriously, you want to identify the 5 or 6 that would be the best fit for you, the ones that you're most interested in. Really research those thoroughly. Make sure you understand their businesses, their business model, where they're having trouble or where they're struggling, so that you can be prepared for those interviews as an expert coming in with solutions for them. Not that you're going to necessarily say, I can fix all these things for you, but that you're coming in with the kinds of expertise and the kind of questions you would ask that would attract their attention. So you really, I think if that's really an area you want to explore, I think that's definitely worth your time to really do that homework.
Yeah, as far as exploring that, I think that's where the resume carries the most weight. Obviously, I've been in that industry for 20 years, but also, having that small area to look at, and keeping my options open as well, into other industries. And that's really where I've been kind of reaching around on LinkedIn and reaching out to different people to see, hey, with this resume, it might play well in this industry or this type of position.
Good. So what other industries are you interested in? What are you finding?
Again, still in the very early stages. Technology has always been something of interest to me. Working with this previous company selling point of sales, it was very, it was based on a lot of software. It's an industry that's not going away. It's continuing in growth. So that's definitely something of interest, the technology sector.
Very smart. Very good idea. So, yeah, and you're right. That is where things are headed. So it's like how to really do that well and have it really work effectively. So, so that's an area just to keep exploring, right? Just to keep looking at what's out there, talking to people. How are you doing in terms of networking? Are you talking to people, informal kind of interviewing, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So prior to being laid off from this position, I knew it wasn't something that I could see myself in another year, 2 years. So I had put my resume together. I had started to reach out to a couple different people within my network. So when I got laid off, it was a surprise, but I kind of had done a little bit of the legwork already.
Good.
So that was nice. I haven't reached out yet to my immediate network, a couple close friends that are in, different industries. I again really just wanted to speak to somebody who's gone through, career changes or moving from one industry to another, and really kind of eliminate some things and get a couple areas of focus down before I reached out to additional people in my network.
Yeah. I think that's a great challenge and a great thing to be thinking about. So the key thing is you've got an industry that you're looking at possibly modifying. If you're going to be moving into a new industry, you want to leverage the skill set that you're currently using, that George Donald was mentioning. So it's like your career track looks like it's managerial, that's the area that you're interested in working in. So that should translate across a number of areas. So you want to pick industries that have a similar customer focus, probably in a direct customer focus, as opposed to business to business, more a retail kind of position, where you're already saying, I know how to operate a team to address customer needs at the point of contact of whatever the organization is. So you've got experience that would translate to a lot of different industries directly. So you want to look for what those would be, so that they can really connect the dots clearly and easily. It doesn't mean that you might also. The cool thing about the networking process is the clearer you are about what you're looking for. You love managing people. You love building teams. You like making things happen. So if that's your excitement and you're talking to people about that, and they get interested in you, you might find yourself in a whole different area that you didn't expect out of a relationship that emerges. So one of the things about the job search process at this point is it's likely to come through personal networking rather than a resume play. And it's not going to be just throwing your resume on a pile, because as soon as you're looking at career changes, you're up against HR. They're looking for who's done exactly what we're looking for. They have they're not looking for creativity. They're looking at what's the least risk person that we can fill this position with. So you want to be more in an exploratory mode. We're talking to people who could be the direct hires and to hiring managers. And avoid the HR path if you can.
Sure.
So it's that sort of thing. So it's really preparing your campaign for networking, informational interviewing, talking to people in different industries, doing your homework. You might even be able to find different positions where you can take on a kind of part-time or staffing a managerial position on a temporary basis, to have a story of what you're doing and what you're playing with right now. So one of the things that people often miss is you want to, it's always better if you've got something going on that you're talking about, is thinking about what you want to do. So if you can find some volunteer work or a position that would be kind of a consulting thing where you step in as a temporary CEO or a temporary manager in a particular situation to help an organization in the course of your interviewing, be creative about that, and just think about yourself as a net giver, contributing to whoever it is you're talking to about how your skills can help solve their problems. And you'll be surprised what might emerge out of this.
Yeah. In that, leveraging my network and, being in the restaurant industry, a lot of this is new to me, the LinkedIns and Indeeds, Glassdoor and all that, everything in the restaurant industry is word of mouth. And up until recently, I haven't had to utilize these platforms very much. Is that all the posts that I see through my feed on LinkedIn are, business related articles and congratulatory promotions? Is that something that, I can post and say, hey, here's kind of my skill set. If anybody's looking for, team management, let's have a conversation.
What does everybody think?
Seems
I
like
don't think it'd be a
great
bad
idea.
idea.
What do you think, Justin?
I mean, yeah, I haven't seen really any posts through my feed that have been like that, but all visibility is good visibility. So, if I throw something up there and say, hey, I'm looking to manage, in more professional terms, but I'm looking to manage people and love to speak to people about any opportunities or their industry a little bit further, please reach out.
Yeah. So here's the thing about that, Justin, is the best way to get support is the more you can give structure to that, so that people don't have to figure out what it is you might want. The more specific you can be. So doing some of your own homework about what is it that where's an industry that I think I'd really like to make a contribution, and then maybe I can do a brief blog on something related to that industry and what I'm learning about it and how my skills translate to that I can talk about or refer to it. So, or there may be a group of companies that you've identified that you want to look at, and you're looking at solving problems in there and networking into that. So, but it's very helpful to be specific, because otherwise, if you're too vague, people won't know how to help you.
Sure.
Because they think, yeah, I get, but unless they have a specific something in mind. So the more specific you can do, the homework you can do of what is it that I really think is my best use right now? What are the things and the kind of industries and the kind of places I want to work if I do want to move out of a restaurant industry? But there's something about the restaurant industry that you apparently liked. It somehow was a good skill set for you. What was that? What was the magic that made that work for you so well?
Adaptability, change. It's something different every day. Providing. People walk into the restaurant and they take money out of their pocket and they spend it there and they don't leave with a product. It's that experience. It's making those connections with the people. Most of the places I worked at were in neighborhoods, so it was. It's so funny. I used to see people that would come in and have drinks and started to date, and now I see them walking down the street and have 2-3 kids with them. And I've seen the progression over the last 10, 12 years. So not only was it fun, it was rewarding in that respect as well.
So you just got it right there. You're a guy who loves to create experiences for people and to see them flourish and enjoy it. And I picture like the Disney organization. They are selling an experience. You go to Disney, you spend a lot of money, you bring your family, and you guys have an amazing time and you talk about it for years, and it's a beautiful experience. You're selling experiences, and you get joy out of that. So for you to be kind of playing with and being creative about exactly what you just described, that's the temperament, that's the skill set that's going to resonate with people. And you've already demonstrated that's something you do well and enjoy doing. And then how do you build teams of people that can relate to that and kind of generate that experience? Frankly, George Donald, we sell experiences too. We just did a More Life training seminar this last weekend, 3 days, where we're talking about what's the experience of engaging in your own personal growth and transformation, and how do you help people have an experience of that to make them think, wow, that's something I really would like to develop and do in my life, because it's something I'm looking for right now. And it's a sort about who's the right person, just like it's a sort who's going to go into your restaurant, who's going to go into whatever thing it is. So understanding that whole market, that whole what it is that you're offering, and who the audience is, and your ability to sort of create an organization to focus on that, being able to translate that into very tangible kinds of positions would be very helpful.
Beautiful. This is fantastic. I want to kind of scoop up a lot of what's going on here, because we've got a lot happening here, and welcome everybody who's just joining in or has joined in over the past few minutes. So Justin, I'm going to talk about you a little bit like you're not here.
Sure.
Just to kind of recap for people. So Justin's got this, he's learning about what really matters to him. And this is a skill this is a process that often people need. We don't necessarily see ourselves as well as other people can see us. So it can be super helpful to have a coach or friends or people who are giving you feedback about how they see you, because our brains literally aren't wired to really assess our gifts well. I'm looking at Justin's LinkedIn profile, the successes that he has on there. I'm like, okay, this guy gets shit done. This guy he's got a lot of gifts, and he's warm. He's a people person. And as he's talking about it, and, we're looking at, submitting, responding to job ads online. One of the things we often say, it may be changing a little bit because we're getting more and more tech, into tech land, but you don't want to spend too much time just responding to stuff, because that's often like the leftovers. It's really especially where you've got like a solid career and great relationships like Justin, you want to use your network. And most of us, or a lot of us, are a little uncomfortable with engaging with our network at the depth we could. And so that might be some areas where Justin would be kind of breaking some limiting beliefs about, like, how people are with him in the world. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just kind of making some of this stuff up. But over the time of working with people, again and again, I see that people don't necessarily know how to use their network, or will avoid reaching out for help. So Dr. Medlock brings in the thing of, like, be specific with your asks. That helps people ground. And so there's little skills that we can get into more about how to access your network. So just wanted to do a quick recap for everybody. Justin, I'm super looking forward to seeing where you go with this. You getting the next quality that you want in what you're doing. And there's also the piece that you were bringing in of enjoying seeing others develop, and how meaningful that is. So welcome everybody. This is Career Lab Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday, noon to 1 p.m. Central. There's the few ways for you to participate. We love it when you jump in, like Justin, Janet, Charles, Caitlin, Olga, Jennifer, Tiffany, Eric, Miro. Love having you on here. That way you can ask questions. We can engage with you directly. If you can't do that, you can always type your questions into the comments section. We'll do our best to get to those. So I don't know, Dr. Medlock, what do you think? And Justin, how are we doing? Are we good to move on and have you check back in next week and see what the progress is? Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. I got a lot of good notes here, and kind of that first step, and or somewhat of a direction,
and
which is what I was lacking.
If you want to set up a session where we just focus on you and get some of this, go ahead and do that as well. That's an option. And we'll also throw in a link for everybody who's viewing in our course, Revitalize Your Career, 3 sections to it: interviewing, resume stuff, networking, and then how to talk about yourself. That's something that we found a lot of people are working on, is how to really talk about themselves in an empowering way without boring the interviewer. So check that out. That includes 3 coaching sessions as well. Yeah. So we have a question in here we've got a few coming in here. Caitlin, are you able to come off mute, and can we dig into this question about sensitivities at work?
Sure. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. Good to have you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Tell us a little more about, in what you're seeing in your career and this competitive environment, and also people being sensitive.
Yeah, so in the design community, you see lots of folks who came up through art school. We tend to be sort of introverts in a lot of circumstances. I would just sort of call us like a sensitive bunch in general. And because tech is so competitive in the last decade or so, there's also, a lot of kind of elbowing, people really trying to get that promotion and prove that they're the one who's right for the management position, and that kind of stuff. And so I guess it's sort of a broad question, but I'm curious in general about how folks are advised, especially if they're kind of sensitive types, to deal with that sort of conflict at work, where it's, just less than civil behavior between colleagues that just happens occasionally, and maybe we're not the best equipped to deflect that as just a as our personalities have sort of dictated.
Mhm. That's a great focus. And actually, this is the area that we specialize in. And so when you talk about sensitivity, you're really talking about the area of interpersonal relationship, interpersonal social emotional learning and intelligence, which is, in our view, the most important area for career advancement and development. So, and the sensitivity that you're talking about is a gift. It's an absolute strength, your ability to be in touch with your own emotions and read the emotions of others accurately to be able to then respond. Now, the challenge is if you've got thin skin and there's certain things that really make it challenging for you, there's often personal work for you to do to be able to handle some of the tensions or the competition or the conflicts that can arise and not let that, we're always up against certain limiting beliefs about, oh my gosh, can I handle that? Or what happens if I express too much anger? Am I going to get in trouble? Or what if I can't access my anger? So I end up kind of retreating when people are aggressive. There's lots of opportunities to develop and grow and learn and develop yourself through understanding how to work with those kinds of relationships. And that's one of the things that I personally believe is one of the key things about successful careers, is that ability to develop that capacity to be present in the moment with other human beings, with whatever's going on, and being able to manage that interaction toward the purpose that's going to serve everybody in the room. And the person who's able to do that effectively will win out at the end of the day. But it requires being able to be present, non-defensive, lots of things that are easier said than done and require real discipline and practice. So let me just get a sense of what your reaction is to what I've said so far.
Yeah, it feels right on that being sensitive is actually a gift, and that the people we really trust to lead us typically are the people who are the most emotionally intelligent and are the ones, ideally who win out a lot of the time. And that's, I think, why we would want to win out, right? We wouldn't want to win out because we threw the elbow of the sharpest. We would,
right.
We would want to. So yeah, that all sounds, I think the thing that really kind of cut the most of what you said also was retreating. If we're people who respond to aggression by going, oh God, all right, well, you win.
Right.
That's a thing I think I would love to learn more about how to.
Yeah. Well, this is something, George Donald, you can probably speak to some of that.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, this actually is bringing in somebody else's question from LinkedIn about regarding personal development under social and emotional intelligence. What specific tips and techniques would you recommend to increase my development and self-awareness? And I'm totally looking at you here, Janet, because you just got off of the More Life training, where we literally, and I'm going to go into one of the basic skills. And on the More Life training, we spend, 2 hours on fear, hurt, anger, sadness, and joy. And what we're doing with this is like the ABCs of emotional intelligence. And in our world, emotions have been poo-pooed. Like there's all kinds of ways and limiting beliefs that we have about our emotions. And so what we're trying to do is to train, or what we're doing, I'll take out the trying. What we're doing is we are training ourselves to be increasingly present with our own core feelings. And all of these feelings, I'm guessing, Justin's got this idea about putting out into LinkedIn, hey, this is what I want. And there's probably some fear associated with that. There's a risk involved with that. And if I can increase my ability to be present while I'm feeling afraid, and not to blame myself for feeling afraid, and not to say, oh, I need to go do something else or run or, go distract myself. But no, okay, cool. I am challenging something about how I see myself and I can do this. And then I can take a risk, a meaningful risk. And then there's pieces of fear to pay attention to. Like, well, if I'm making this post about what I want, how am I going to make it the best? See, that's a useful piece of fear. So as we become more and more present with our primary emotions, it's kind of like the opportunities start to open up. We start to see ways of connecting. So now, especially in regards to what you're bringing up, Caitlin, this is like I look at all of those. I mean, all feelings like can be superpowers, but the one that so many people, and especially me, don't like to pay attention to is feeling hurt. And conflict can come up a whole lot because I feel hurt about something, but I don't want to acknowledge that I feel hurt because I'm a guy and we don't feel hurt. You know, that's just, I'm trained to think I don't feel hurt. So I'm going to move to aggression or, you know, some other strategy to avoid feeling my own hurt in a conversation with somebody. Somebody's really good at something, they're better than me. I think I want to admit that. Being able to say, geez, I feel hurt that you're so much better at this. But if I'm able to do that, then I can actually learn from that person. And I can actually start acknowledging some of what my gifts are. I'm not like, I work with a lot of really, really smart people whose computers move a lot faster than mine. And one of my constant challenges as a coach is to just be like, damn, they are so freaking smart. And I do feel hurt about that. But now how can I actually use that as a gift in that interaction? One of the things I've found is that when I can kind of accept that, now it's like, okay, your job is to be able to communicate to me, because you need to be able to communicate to like all different kinds of people if you're going to be a successful leader. So can I really understand you? So and there's even an appreciation that I can have of other people if I allow myself to feel hurt. And there's no easy, one of the things about this is there's no quick fix. It's a pain in the ass. This is challenging stuff.
Stop the stinking thoughts.
Yes. Now there's another piece of this that I want to bring in, and I think we can grab hopefully a link to this, which is the drama triangle. So we have the components of 5 feelings, and then we have something that Eric Byrne and Stephen Cartman came up with called the drama triangle, which is victim, persecutor, rescuer. And we all kind of live in the drama triangle most of the time, and we're kind of blind to it because it's like, you know, we can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing. So now if my feelings are hurt in a meeting and I'm not going to be present with that hurt, I'm going to move to a persecutor role or a victim role or a rescuer role. And it basically means that I'm keeping the system the same. I'm not really going to challenge my mistaken beliefs about how I engage with people. And it'll just kind of keep things the same. So it's like, oh, I didn't speak up in the meeting, but inside I'm like, God, that person's such a jerk. So right there, I'm persecuting them. And then I'm like, oh, and you're such a wuss, you never speak up. Right there, now I'm becoming the victim, persecuting myself. And so when we can start to catch that and instead just say, I feel hurt, or I'm angry that this isn't going the way I want it to, or I feel afraid about this, it starts to give us really high quality data. So long response to your question, Caitlin and Durga, but I'm hoping this gives a little insight into how to deal with conflict at work.
Really cool. Thank you so much.
You bet. Any follow-up things for you that you might try from this, Caitlin?
Yeah, I think I'll look at the triangle and kind of try to catch myself in those cycles. And I think being more in touch with our emotions is, yeah, like universally a wonderful thing to do. So I'll try to remind myself of that. And thankfully I'm in a great job, and I like don't feel this very often right now. So I don't think I'll have to practice it for a while. I hope I won't, but
well,
it's something
I love what you're saying about this, in that you're so oftentimes people try to make big moves quickly, but that you're saying, I'm going to notice this. I'm going to notice this, collect the data, and that you're preparing for it. One of the things we also look at is so oftentimes people only get coaching when everything, when things are really challenging. It's like, oh no, I'm about ready to lose my job. It's awesome that you're looking at this to help you plan as you're going forward and to be increasing your skills now so that when things are challenging, you're prepared.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Thank you so much.
Right on. Thank you, Caitlin. Great question.
Just to add to that and build on that a bit is this whole idea of building on this skill set, and also what we call flipping on the up, which is George John was talking about, is the time to actually develop the skill set is when things are going well, because you're more likely to enhance it as opposed to you wait until the time when things have hit the fan and then, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? So, but one of the things, and George John, you may have some insight about this, but we have a program called the Year of More, where you're actually working with a group of allies, working on specific growth assignments every week to build a set of skills that are essential to what you're talking about, Caitlin. And do we have like a demo or a sample assignment that people typically work in that program to just give her an idea, or others perhaps an idea of this is the sort of thing you would build in this? Because it's not something that's taught in school. When you go to business school or whatever, you're not necessarily focusing on this, and yet it's the most important thing to your own career success. So we actually do this very well, but I'm wondering if we have maybe an assignment, a sample that we could send Caitlin that might be helpful for her to get a picture of what we're
good
about.
point. We'll see about that. There might be something in YouTube that would be available. Yeah. One of the assignments that in the Year of More, they're all progressive, and so in a way that helps people develop it. Janet, I see your hand raising. What's up?
I just got my first assignment for the Year of More, and we are doing what we call vision statements for family, self, touch, work, and life. I don't have my book here because I'm at work, or I would show you guys the worksheet that I'm working on.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Okay, Janet, so you're setting up the context for yourself for the entire year so that when you get into, let's say, work, and one of the things that we have in the Year of More is teams. And so people take leadership roles on that team. So my job as a team leader primarily is to help facilitate the leader's development in that group. And so there's a role called task, which is basically like the manager, the project manager or whatever of that group. And so one of the assignments that they use is noticing feelings. That's just as they're running the group, being more aware of when they feel hurt, afraid, angry, sad, joy. And then the next week is one where we practice saying it. Now, not gonna like in corporate land, you might not say, my feelings are hurt. You're not gonna do that. But, or I'm angry, like, whoa, that might be way overboard. But we expect you to be able to translate the language to your environment appropriately. So I'm thinking of one person, and he shared the most beautiful thing, which was one time he was leading a team of 1,200 people, and he got the feedback from them that they had no idea how he felt about stuff. And so he was like, what do you mean? I tell you, I give you instructions, I tell you what to do, but they're like, yeah, but we can't tell when we're doing a good job because like all you do is smile. And we know that sometimes things aren't going well. And he just got it from doing this assignment, which was, he came up with it for himself, was he would just say, ouch. Anytime he felt a feeling and he wasn't sure what it was, it might be hurt or fear, he would just say, ouch. And he was like, this is amazing. My team is responding and like more productive. All I'm doing is saying, ouch. Like, somebody comes in and is like, oh, that client, da-da-da, and he's like, ouch. And like, they're like, they respond to that. They get it. So he's a real analytical type. Our teams are made of many different personality styles, cooperators, energizers, but we all have the language of emotions. And so just that, so being able to be in touch with what my feelings are, and then being able to say it in a way that's appropriate to the context you're in, so that people understand who you are. you know, if you just give me a long list of details, I tend to get pretty lost. And as a cooperator, I would just stand there and be like, oh yeah, I understand because I want you to like me. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, what just happened? So there's all kinds of ways to work with this. Was that what you were looking for, Dr. Medlock?
Yeah, something like that, and perhaps a sample of something like that we might be able to pass on to people, because I think it's really sometimes difficult for people to even understand what an emotional curriculum looks like, and a social emotional curriculum. So we can also talk about what things like YouTube videos and stuff like that we might have available for that as well.
Perfect.
So thank you, Caitlin, for your questions and the importance that you've drawn. You've put a spotlight on that particular issue, which I think is central. So thank you for that. And I look forward to hearing more about how you're working with that, and how you're becoming one of those leaders that you're saying that you recognize you admire. So that's part of your work, to become that person. And I'm assuming that you're on that track. So look forward to hearing more.
Thanks so much, you will.
Sure.
Well, everybody, this is Career Lab Wednesday. We are here every Wednesday, noon to 1 Central Time. Love it when you jump in and engage, like we've got Justin and Caitlin doing. You can also type your questions into the chat on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But we've got a little bit of time left. Charles, I wanted to check in and see if you were able to give us an update from last week.
No update yet. A lot of stuff to think about, though. You gave me a whole lot to really unpack in my life. So I really want to get better at this. So this is a great start, though.
Fantastic. Charles, if you can plan for it, do the More Life training coming up in November. That'll be the next opportunity for it.
All right, I will look into that. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. Well, Olga, Tiffany, Jennifer, any ways that we can support you, or SB? We've got about another.
Hi, George.
Hey!
George.
You've got your wife's device. So this is Tyrone.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Hey, doing well.
All right. It's good to see you, Gordon, as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, my wife, she I think I told you, like earlier this year, she won Teacher of the Year at her school. And this,
Oh yeah.
it's kind of crazy because it's a radio station that I started calling in the morning, and I would tell them, they said, "Who are you?" I said, "This is Tyrone. I'm the teacher's wife." You know, like like the movie, The Preacher's Wife. If anyone saw it with Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston, they just started laughing. So when I put it on here, I tried to change it to my link, but it's for some reason staying on Jennifer.
All good. That story is worth it. I'm glad that you kept your wife's name on there. That's awesome.
Yeah, so now I call. They said, "Oh, everybody, it's Tyrone, the teacher's wife." You know. But hey, it's good to see everyone and to hear everyone's comments in regards to their journey right now, because that's what it is. It's a journey. I just had a question, piggybacking to a couple of weeks ago, because I'm still in the process of planning a podcast I mentioned to you about, and I'm working with a lady right now. She has her own foundation. She goes around and cuts special needs children's hair for free, all across the school district. And she just advised me on last week that she would love to team up with me on the podcast, and that's so beautiful.
And have you followed up on that?
Well, I'm sending her. I just sent her some information today on who all would like to be as far as a guest on our podcast.
Oh, beautiful!
'Cause I have about 10 to 11 people that want to.
Okay, great. So you're moving it forward. So, and just to give everybody a quick update, so Tyrone is like a networker, guy in the community. He's got a lot of things going on, and is it looks like launching a podcast or helping launch one. So Tyrone, how can we help you today? What next step are you wanting to get in, and how can we
Well,
support you with some coaching?
I just wanted to get some advice in regards to how can I let others know, as on my LinkedIn profile, that I've done events, I've organized events, and now I'm planning. Well, we're planning on doing a podcast. So how can I incorporate that message into what I'm
Okay,
already doing right now, as far as I'm doing cybersecurity. I'm
gotcha. Tyrone, what I would recommend you do is, if you don't do it yourself, have somebody help you with it. Take a look at some other LinkedIn profiles, and honestly, take a look at Justin's. This is good.
Oh, okay.
Um, and you can also take a look at some of the LinkedIn videos that we have from several months ago, and just put it in there. What you're going to do is you're going to put in the results that you get with things. So how many people you had at the events.
Right.
Just give people specific details so that when they look at your LinkedIn profile, they say, "Oh, Tyrone's a guy he's connected and he makes things happen."
Right.
I mean, you do a lot. You bring a lot of people together, and so you just need to translate that to some bullet points on your LinkedIn.
Right.
Does that help?
Oh yeah, that helps most definitely, because I want to be specific,
Uh-huh.
and that's what everybody looks at, those bullet points.
So, maybe bring it in next week, and we can do a quick scan of it and just, give you a little feedback on it. How's that sound?
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, and I'm right where Justin is, uh, as far as just getting my schedule changed, and I know it's gonna take a minute, but I did talk to my supervisor the other day. He said he's got a couple of guys that he's looking at. One he's definitely looking at, and the other doesn't really. He just didn't seem like he was that interested, because we do need a couple. He did communicate that to me, but in the meantime, I'm doing what I can to leverage myself,
Mm-hmm.
in the industry. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, beautiful. Nice work, Tyrone. Looking forward to the podcast, and looking forward to seeing your LinkedIn.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's what it's going to be called. Communication is confidence. You know, and I'm working on the artwork right now, and that's the thing I really enjoy about it when you talked about skill sets, because I took visual communication in college, and piggybacking to that experience, it's opened up a whole new world. Like, I'm an artist, and that's the creative side that everyone needs to really focus on. And a lot of these industries, everyone don't really, they and maybe it's me, but they don't really teach about creativeness like they should. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's me, but for me, it's really helped, and it's opened up and expand my mind.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Tyrone. Thank you. I remember an art teacher of mine saying, we're like, you said most of us are not going to become like paid artists. So what are you even teaching us for? What's the point of this? And he says, oh, well, I'm teaching you how to see, teaching you how to really see things. And I was like, that's beautiful. So nice going, Tyrone. I look forward to hearing more. We've got a little more time, and we have a question that I do want to bring in here. Dr. Medlock, some help with this one is in how this goes into conflict at work. I think there's probably some connections here. So experiencing what I can only perceive as ageism where I work. How do I handle this delicate issue? And, What I'll say about it is I hear kind of both ends of things of, younger people saying nobody wants to trust me with anything. Nobody thinks I can do things. And then I hear, people who've been in career for a while saying things like, people are coming in, I'm getting passed up and I don't really know what to do about that. I've demonstrated, my loyalty and commitment. And so there's a whole lot. One thing I can say, there's definitely a whole lot of room here for hurt feelings. Dr. Medlock, but I don't know quite how to navigate that without hearing more. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my sense about that is whenever you're dealing with an ism, whether it's ageism or ableism or racism or sexism, it's always about there's a category that's being dealt with. And part of the work is to get past the categorization to really being specific about what's the issue here and how do I work that issue with what's going on. What part of the feedback am I getting that might be useful to me? What part of it sounds like unconscious bias? And really exploring that. So really to dig into this for this individual, it might be, going into those details would be important to kind of break that down so we can see exactly what's happening. We can do that. Sometimes we've done our groups where we kind of go into a smaller group session for people who might want to talk about more private things. We have that option as well, or you can schedule some time with you, George Donald or myself, to dig into that a little bit more specifically if you'd like. But it's a very, very important session. It's a very important question, and it's a reality. And unconscious bias is a reality in life in so many different ways. So at the same time, I guess the one thing I would say is the most important way to break away from those stereotypes is by creating a personal connection with the people you're dealing with, so they stop seeing you as other and more as another human being like them. And so wherever you can do that by personalizing the issue and getting away from the categorization, the more likely you are to make some headway on that. But as I said, that's kind of a broad brush on this. If you'd like more specific discussion, we'd have to dig in a little bit more to that.
No, thank you, Dr. Medlock.
Yeah.
That's a what you said about the personal connection. We could tie this over to another way of dealing with conflict at work. Is a question we get sometimes is how do I deal with a pain in the butt boss? Or a pain in the butt supervisor? And if we look at the drama triangle, I can always find something to blame people for. I can, certainly there's things wrong with authority figures. Fine. But would I rather be somebody who can learn to work with somebody who's a challenge to work with and actually become somebody that they depend on and think highly of? Is that more interesting? Or is me making sure that they're the person who's wrong and and trying not to have that happen again, is that going to be more important to me? Well, what we find is that over the years, if I'm always, blaming an authority figure, even when I go into a new position at a new job, what tends to happen is that boss that I thought so highly of and was so wonderful and I put on a pedestal doesn't live up to that. And now they're letting me down and I'm blaming them again. So it tends to be a pattern from within inside. Not meaning, they may suck, like fine, but if that's what you're kind of basing a lot of stuff on, it's not gonna help you in your career. So even, I know that there's a lot of sensitivity and stuff with this, but I wanted to underline that. I kind of jumped over to a different scenario from the ageism thing. But what Dr. Medlock said about developing that personal relationship, that cuts through everything. And so whatever you can do in those regards, the more life training, again, gives you the basic skills. 2.5 days of like working this with a team that would give you a whole lot of insight into that. So hoping this is serving you. We are going to be signing off here. This is Career Lab Wednesday. We love the engagement that we're getting. Again, thank you so much, Justin, Jennifer, Tyrone, Charles, Janet, Caitlin, thank you for your participation. Thanks for all the questions coming in from online. This will be available for you to check out. Check out the YouTube channel. And if you want coaching one-to-one, message us. We can set that up. And if not, we will see you next Wednesday for Career Lab Wednesday. Until then, go forth, be in touch with yourself, challenge yourself to take the next meaningful risks for yourself. All right, everybody.
Thank you all.
Take
Good to be
care.
with you.
Thank you.
Take care.
You bet.
Bye now.
Thank you.